Hey guys, it's the Wizard, and this is part 2 of The Creator. Hope y'all enjoy. With the first predators being born, diversity in this little world rapidly increased. Some grew a response to flee when they encountered those toxins. Others grew resistance to them. The ones that grew resistance would eventually grow to utilize the toxin products. Eventually, I noticed something interesting. The cells that escaped from the toxin group ended up with the cells that utilized the toxins. They stayed close together and helped each other. Eventually, these type of cells would attach to one another. They formed a weird symbiosis, where the cell that would normally flee would now move towards places where the toxins are, and the other cell would consume the toxins and provide the mover with some of the energy. Without going into much detail, I became very excited and decided to let this simulation run during the morning. I had stayed up until 5 a.m. While I went to bed, when I woke up around 11, I noticed the world I had created had changed, and it was barely recognizable. Massive plant-like structures grew in this world, consumed by other organisms that ate those plants. However, looking at the log, I noticed that the world hadn't changed much in the past 2 hours or so. I reached another status point where the simplicity of my simulation prevented more complex life from evolving. I expanded the system by breaking up energy into different types, with different wavelengths that were absorbed different degrees by different molecules. I implemented vibrations in the air, created an improved simulation of weight, and made some more clear tweaks. This caused the simulation to run slower, of course, but it was worth the sacrifice. I stayed around the whole day watching the simulation in excitement, and playing with it. It was incredibly addicting. Complex organisms evolved that cooperated plants that depended on each other, or attracted predators that ate the horrible-looking creatures that ate from them. I had fun and noticed that some creatures evolved warning calls. This means that if they noticed a predator, they would issue a sound, and the others of their kind would flee in the holes that they had dug in the earth. Others evolved mating calls. I decided to have some fun. I made a dump tool allowing me to dump specific organisms on the planet, and wrote my name with it. I created 10 meteorites and dumped them on a piece of land to create an island, because I wanted to see whether the animals stuck on both sides would evolve in different directions. I made a smiley face island with volcanic eruptions. By that time, I realized I had stayed up until 5 a.m. again. As I heard the birds outside, I felt tired again. I woke up at 1 p.m. or so. When I looked at my simulation, I felt a sense of shock. Different groups of animals of one species had made statues with stones, some in the form of Smiley, some in the form of my name. I didn't know why they were doing this or how. I did notice is that they would attack each other from time to time. I didn't know what to do with it, but I concluded that these organisms must somehow notice that the smiley in the name I had written were special. The fighting disturbed me, and so I decided to create a massive mountain range through the volcanic eruptions to separate the two groups. By this time, changes were happening fast compared to earlier. While I had to spend a night sleeping to see tribes evolve into my simulation, while I was getting something to eat or taking a bathroom break, I would notice the tribesmen wearing different styles of clothing, or having changed their type of dwelling. Their numbers were also continuously increasing. At some point, I noticed the creatures began making their own symbols on the ground and no longer just copying mine. Most of the symbols seemed random and unintelligible to me, but one stood out. The organisms had created a symbol that resembled them. A small circle with a square beneath it. Within the square, a dot can be found in the center. This was meant to symbolize the vital organs of the creature, as the creature had two visible organs, one in the front of its body and one in the back. In the square, other sensory and reproductive organs were symbolized. Next to the circle on top of the square could be seen something resembling a drawing of a fork. 2 of these forks had been painted in opposite directions. And next to that, the smiley face could be seen.